Good morning. My name is Yanice Jackson, and I'm coming to you from Stax 92.1. This is the Sunday Chronicle, and we're bringing you the stuff that matters most for the community, because community knows what community needs. Today, we have two special guests, and I'd like to introduce them. My very good friend, Miss Mila Lynn, artiste extraordinaire, and we got to my right here, Mr. Metro Malik. Holla.
Hi, thank you.
Well, I like to thank you too for being here today. And today's show is going to be about colorism. So some people might be wondering what exactly is colorism. So I'm going to go into a definition that I pulled up. Colorism is prejudice or discrimination against individuals with a dark skin tone, typically among people of the same ethnic or racial group. So
I'm the darkest one in here. And I ain't that dark.
No.
Thanks for letting us know, Malik.
Yeah, yes.
You're not in this room. He's over there at the window talk about.
Well, should we talk about our skin tones? I'm okay with that. I don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable.
I would call it coffee with a little bit of cream.
A coffee with a little cream. All right.
Mocha, a little bit of mocha.
I like that. Mocha sounds good. I am a light-skinned African-American woman, and I have hazel eyes.
All right. And I'm a biracial woman who mainly identifies with my black side. And depending on how much sun I'm in, I'm still light. And I get a little bit of golden. But I feel a bit silly describing my skin tone. I feel like that kind of feeds into it, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to push you guys. I want you to be uncomfortable. Do you guys feel kind of uncomfortable?
Well,
I'm chilling.
You chilling? Oh, okay.
I love colors. That's what I do.
Oh, well, she's an artist. Yeah.
So I would have been uncomfortable probably 10 years or so ago, but after I realized that people are beautiful as they are, and that outside stuff, and I know if you see somebody, there's that instant emotional reaction, right? That they are whatever, cute or whatever. So for whatever your preferences are. But like a person's being is what the beauty is. And it took me a long time to get past colorism within my programming to get into that, right? So, I grew up in the suburbs. I grew up in mostly white neighborhoods and stuff like that.
Where'd you grow up?
Oscoda. But even before that, it was Louisville, Kentucky, in the suburbs. When busing came through, it didn't make any sense to me. I was like, I was already out in the burbs.
Okay.
Now you're going to bus me into the city and then take me back out to the burbs. It didn't make any sense to me on a personal level, busing. Because I was like, I don't know where you want me to be.
So I wanted to talk about this topic because it's been something that has floated around in my mind for years since I was a little girl. And, I think about the complexion of a lot of people within my family. And one thing that I get asked a lot, which I am not going to say much right now about it, but some people will come up to me, and this happened the other day, and someone said to me, "What are you?" So you can imagine, well, anyone that knows me, I was feeling some kind of way, but it came out okay, my reaction. I think the look, I'm not sure if the look was all that good, but I told the gentleman I'm black. And he says, "You are?" I said, "Yes, I'm black." And he says, "But your eyes." And I just turned away. I didn't know what else to say. I didn't know really, I wanted to be understanding and empathetic but I couldn't at that time because I just didn't know how to respond. How do you respond to something like that and not be offended. I think I handled it pretty good.
Was it from somebody who was of color or?
Yes, it's a black man.
Yeah. I think it, as much as like it, you would like to say like it doesn't matter who says it, it does kind of matter, right? Especially when specifically talking about colorism. If it's somebody like from the culture that we identify with telling us like, oh, they don't, I don't know what you are. Or then if you claim it like, are you sure? Or like you have to justify it to somebody. I think that's what bothers me the most is like having to justify why I am exactly what I came into this earth being.
Why I look a certain way or why I seem to be unique. I have to have a reason, or I have to have a specific definition of what I am.
Yeah, like if somebody have a mole in the middle of their head, I'm not gonna go up to them and be like, well, why do you have that mole there? Like, what is that?
Yeah, like what is that? What are you? That really doesn't really always give me that warm and fuzzy feeling, but I want to talk about that because I think that this is a bigger issue, right? I think it's a reflection of societal issues, because if we're having issues within the Black race with colorism, there's like a divide. There is a pecking order, or so to speak.
Which was set in place purposefully.
Yes. I believe it's a reflection of what's going on in bigger America, in general, a tool of division. Because within the Black race, we've had issues. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Lighter Than a Paper Bag, looking back at movies like School Days, and then the light-skinned women, and then the darker-skinned women, and competing and saying, well, my eyes are lighter, my hair is longer, yours is this way, and mine is that way. And this is another problem or an issue that we deal with on top of racism, and it's woven into our society, and it's woven into even our own race, where we are having to compete and justify and explain things internally, and then dealing with the things on the outside. And I'm thinking if we don't find a better way to navigate things, then we can implode.
Well, and I'll go back to the programming, because I had to take good hair out of my vocabulary.
Good hair. What's good hair, Malik?
Well, once I realized what they meant by it, I had to take it out. So, nappy, right? Tight curls like I naturally have. It's hair, right?
Right.
And so I had to take good hair. Oh, you got good hair, like it's straight. Mm-hmm. Oh, come on now. Mm-hmm. Because then I go back to when I heard things, and I hate to say some of these things. I really don't want to give anybody fuel. I go back to when I hear things like if it's white is right. Right? So then that leans into good hair, that leans into straight, that leans into assimilating into something that you are not on any natural basis. Mm-hmm. And I spent a lifetime in the restaurant industry, and I was in areas where they were like, well, you have to do this, you have to do that. I go, I don't do that. Is that mine? I don't do that naturally, right? I just don't do that naturally. Mm-hmm. So when my hair is short, it's still an afro, but it's kept. Like I can keep it kept, right? Mm-hmm. But then they're like, well, it can't be, longer than this, that, and the other. I go, but that person has hair 10 times longer than me, and you just let them pull it in a ponytail. So why is that okay? But if I wear mine natural, it's a problem. If it's longer than a high and tight.
Oh, it's part of that class system, or maybe it's just not in style now. Because I'm going to say this: back in the '90s, I don't know if it was like were light skinned people more in style back then. I might get in trouble.
I'll
for
be
that
sure.
Christopher Williams.
Yeah.
I remember
now they
that.
can sing. I heard Brian McKnight. He sang on a show recently. I was like, dang, that boy can really... That man can... See how that programming is? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because I don't call my 4-year-old son boy. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't.
I think to touch on the good hair comment, I think that some of that is like doctored in from obviously like systemic oppression. But I think the other thing is like, amongst women, for instance, like tighter curls tend to be more difficult, and they have been more difficult to deal with because we've had less availability of products, So even like recently, my curl pattern has changed. So like, maybe like 2 inches down from my scalp is like this nice, easily kept, hair that I don't have to do anything with. Like, I could just come out the house. And near my roots, it's starting to get tighter, which I like went to my hairstylist and I was like, oh, I don't know, I think my scalp's infected or something's wrong with it. And she's like, no, like your curl pattern has changed completely. But I've struggled over the last couple of months because I now don't know what products to use, and I'm having to like experiment, which now I think that because there's more women embracing their natural hair, it's easier to find, these products where before maybe saying you have good hair just means like it's easier to be kept because I don't have the availability of things that, hydrate my hair properly, or I have to press my hair because otherwise it's going to look too frizzy or whatever. And then you're judged in the workplace or amongst friends or whatever as being like wild or, untamed, which that's not fair.
And it's
so not fair.
It's not. I had my curly, I wore natural curly last year, I think from the end of the summer on into the fall. I ended up cutting my hair last January, but there was comments about me having the afro and it wasn't this is more you, or this is not quite you, or like no, this is just what it is right now. I have a right to change. I don't have to have hair straight all of the time, or it doesn't. It's part of who I am, but I don't naturally, yes.
So you should be allowed to be, and that's where I got that out of my thing. I should be able to present myself as naturally as I am.
Yeah.
And then the rules don't allow naturally. And so, I have another cliche, the system isn't broken, it's built to do exactly what it's supposed to do. I'm just saying I don't believe in that for myself, and I'm going to present to you as I am. Mm-hmm. And if you have a problem with that, that's not my problem.
Do you think now it's more apparent? I mean, I think back, and I want to go back to the lighter than a paper bag thing, and I'm not as well versed in it, but Malik, I don't know if you want to touch on that a little bit, the lighter than the paper bag thing and how people were judged based on this, or accepted in certain groups based on if they were lighter, literally putting a brown bag up to their face.
Oh, that's relatively new to me in that phraseology. But I do distinctly remember hearing just hurtful statements toward people the darker they were, and being confused partly because I'm like, well, that's just who they are. Why would somebody knock somebody for just how they are, like how God made them, how nature made them? Like this is how they are. But you would hear people just say terrible things about dark-skinned people. And then when you extrapolate that and realize that comes from a very long history of creating a rift in between our own people, right, to cause us to infight, which is a distraction, right, and it allows other people to be able to contain that energy and use that against the people that are attacking themselves.
And it's a class system that goes all the way. It dates back to slavery. And when the lighter skinned blacks or women, they usually had roles in the house. They weren't claimed as the master's children, but they still were given some privilege. And then the darker skinned people were out in the field, and this created division in itself.
Let's repeat that. So the lighter skinned people were not claimed as the master's children, right?
Right.
But were given a certain privilege.
Yes, sir, they are.
Because they were of that.
Yes.
That needs repeating.
Yes.
But
right?
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that was it.
I was just going to say, but I do question if it's 100% like slavery to blame. And the only reason why I bring that up is like specifically in this country, slavery, yes. But if you look at countries like India, Japan, Australia, any of these Aboriginal people with darker skin tones seem to be like at this lower level. And so like that doesn't only exist in America, that exists in other countries.
What is a common denominator?
The darker skin. So I'm not saying that.
No, the common denominator is the conqueror.
Yeah, the
Well, no.
Controls
Oh,
through the
yeah.
place.
No, but I
So
get what you're
depending
saying.
on where you are in the dynamic, the common denominator is the conqueror that goes into the place, right?
No, but so all I'm saying is like, although, yeah, that is true, like slavery here in America, but it does exist other places too. And it's just very interesting how whether you want to say lighter skin is thought to be like more intelligent or thought to be more beautiful or thought to be like more deserving or however, it's interesting to me that has like followed precedent in other areas as well because somebody chose to make, you know what I mean?
It's, and sometimes, you know, the thing that's sad is that, and it's still alive and well. I know some families that do things to keep their family light, whether it's marry a white person or maybe a Hispanic person to keep that hair or a certain texture or maybe a certain complexion.
People lead with that? No, I'm talking.
I mean, I don't know if they lead with it, but I mean, can see it.
No, but it's true. People will claim it. I had a girlfriend when we were really little, and she was like very melanated, and she told me she was like, I am never ever having children with a black man, and she just said she does not want her kids to be as dark as her. And I remember thinking that was just like so weird. And obviously, like a young age, I'm not like, oh, you have like that's some self-hate, but like I was like, oh, you know, because I'm the opposite, you know.
So the question is, are we keeping it alive as a race, and how do we start to combat it? Because this is sad. I mean, we have enough to deal with on the outside of our race without, you know, these certain groups that you're not accepted if you're not looking a certain way. Not really about the character, but if if you're looking a certain way, is that still real? I mean, what are we keeping it alive, and what do we do to change that?
I think part of the reason, which, right, this is just like my hypothesis, part of the reason it's able to like stay alive and well is because within the black community, we're not necessarily creating all the opportunities that we need to like move forward. So in terms of like resources and things, a lot of times we have to go and reach out to another culture to, you know, receive just resources in general, and that can be like anything. Whereas if a lot of those things were organically being kept or made in the black community and allowed to thrive, then there would be less do you get what I'm saying? Like there's less competition when you already have the resources. Yes. Because systemically, like we don't have resources and we have to go outside to get resources. Yeah. There's competition of like who will look better, who will do better, who is more well-spoken. Or I had a long talk the other day with Erica Lynn and Michael Lynn, and we were talking about how like well-spoken, like it's generally with minorities. Yeah. And I was like, dang, I didn't even think like it is an insult, but I suppose I think it comes from like good intention, but it's weird because like why would that be an issue, or why would you be like surprised? Yeah. And I'm well spoken.
And I try to, you know, I give people a little grace with that because I know sometimes they mean well, and I'm just like, but yeah,
you're nicer than I am.
Yeah, you know, I guess catch me on the right day. I don't but yeah,
I worked in a restaurant. Like I said, most of my life has been in the restaurant industry, and the last two restaurants where I worked, they kept promoting me, whether I liked it or not. And the one before, I'm not going to call their names out, it's not the point, but the one before my last restaurant, you know, people would come in because it was a little fancy place, and people would come in and they'll be like, oh, you talk different. And I'll be like, oh, and then they ask sideways question, what college did you go to? And I'm like, what, man? Come on, dude. Like, why? Just because I'm saying yes or no? I mean, I don't even say. I'm just saying, you know, speaking properly and being polite and using English. Why does it have to be a thing? Because I don't hear you asking other people that, right? And then, or if I would name the name of this quote unquote fancy Lansing restaurant outside of that restaurant, people would look at me and pause and try to figure out where I worked, and then they would go, "Oh, so you're a cook?" Because they didn't want to call me a dishwasher, not knocking that job, but they couldn't figure out where I would be. And I look at them like, no, I got keys and I count money at the end of the night, and they gave me the code to the place. And then I'm like, I'm done talking to you because you're talking to me funny. I can't do that, right? Because there's this weird confusion in their mind that I'm not just in the back listening to whatever they think people like us listen to, slinging dirty dishes. And I'm not knocking it. I'm not saying I haven't done it and wouldn't do it, But it's their strange assumption that because I talked the way that I talked, that they were confused as where I would be in a restaurant, and they couldn't see me being a manager and actually counting money at the end of the night.
So what do we do then? Because I keep having these flashbacks, and I keep thinking, like, when I talk about colorism, I think of school days, and I think of like how that was such an issue. What do we do? Because it's a reflection of the bigger picture of society, you know, the class system based on skin color. How do we combat that? I mean, what do you think?
I mean, that's what I was saying about the resources. There's like there's such a heavy concentration of like competition within our culture. And you know, somebody brought up a point a long time ago to me that like it seems like the Black community is the only community where both men and women compete with each other.
Yes,
like,
yes.
you know, I suppose like you might talk to a white woman and just, oh, why I feel like I'm in competition with a white man to like, you know, like I'm never going to be respected at the same level. But I don't feel like outwardly, you know, you walk into a room and like have a nice outfit on and have both the men and women either like praise you or talk about you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And even, you know, what you were saying, Malik, about people questioning how you speak. I know growing up that like if there was a darker gentleman, it was specifically one of my friends, darker gentleman, who spoke very well, and the rest of, you know, the Black community was like, yo, you're an Oreo, or like pushed. So like, even if maybe it's not a colorism thing, but there's like all these different variables to like judge whether like how Black you are, or are you actually Black, that literally have nothing to do with.
I mean, and it's heartbreaking. And I can remember in times when I was younger and even when, you know, coming of age, just not being accepted because of my skin tone, or being accepted because of that. And I wanted to be more accepted because of the person I was. And that kind of made me shy away from a lot of stuff, and led to some insecurities, because I'm like, okay, well, I'm Black, but I don't know if they want to hang out with me because, you know, they say that I talk white. People say that I talk white, you know. I think I had someone within a couple years ago, they said, you sound white. And I'm like, I don't know what that means, you know.
Yeah.
And so I think when I ask the question, how do we do this, how we combat this, and it's got to be education. It has to be, you know, people that saying that, I'd like to think that it's just ignorance, and not stupidity, but ignorance. It's a difference. And educating people of how this is a reflection. Okay.
I lead by the other words that isn't often very... Actually, I was telling you 4 minutes. I was leading by the other words that as often is left behind, with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Said, as content of character. I always try to lead with content of character. I don't need to lead with my Blackness. You can see it, right? So I want to be able to go into a space or a place and say, I can do the job, and it doesn't matter that I'm Black, white, or whatever I am, light, dark, or mocha, or whatever it is, that I'm going to be a good person and do what needs to be done in the best that I can do it. And then hopefully that will help show not only people that don't look like me, but people that look like me, that if we keep moving forward, holding our head high and doing what we do in a proudful way and a good way, that hopefully, and it's a slow approach, believe me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I'm like, so with the re-education of things, you know, something that we talked about this morning on this was like the Black Book Drive that me and one of my girlfriends did last year. And that was because like I know growing up, nobody in the books looked like me, and they definitely didn't look like my friends. So I don't really know where we fit in, but apparently we don't chase dragons or like get to become tooth fairies or like any of that fun stuff.
Tell it.
Right.
So when we got the books, like that, I guess that was like my way of kind of like trying to approach it, is like, dang, if I can give these to these little kids and they see all these different, you know, shades of characters doing stuff and just being like normal, and also children that are white seeing that, like that would normalize like the color is like, it's just ever present, you know?
So that is exactly why I do what I do and I'm in the spaces that I'm in, is that I'm on the news almost weekly, right? So I'm countering some of the other stuff that is only on the news when they see mugshots.
Yes. And and this is what we're here to do. This show in particular is to show another side of us, and for so long, African Americans have been portrayed in the media, in mainstream media, in a negative light. And so I'm glad that we can have this platform for the community, the Sunday Chronicle, the Chronicle newspaper, those outlets, so the people can raise their voice, and you don't have to be a superstar to be recognized in your community. It's about community. If we don't raise our voices, then we can't get the things that we need. And so that's why we're here today. We have to re-educate ourselves and not continue to go on a reflection on a larger society that pretty much set us up to fail not pretty much, but set us up to fail in the beginning. It's all about control. It's all about mind control, and it's breaking free to show people, yes, we are, we're intelligent, we are compassionate, and we are very much here, and we're raising our voices. And again, let me say, this is Yanice Jackson. We're with Stax 92.1, bringing you the Community Chronicle.
Thank you very much for inviting me to be here.
Yeah.
I mean, it was enjoyable, even though it was kind of.
It was oof.
It was a little bit oof.
It was oof.
A little bit. I mean, it's a topic, but it needs to be said.
It is. We got to get uncomfortable, man. It can't be comfortable.
All right.
What are we doing?
Is this a
A
break?
little bit more. Nope, we got about a minute left. And so,
Is this a half or is this a?
I don't know.
I don't know if you're breaking up the show.
First time here.
Okay. Well, I'll say this. I'll do this. The show today is sponsored by the Lansing Catalyst, creating empowerment and change through cooperation and collaboration. And the Lansing Catalyst, we will be having a drive-through food distribution on Sunday at 2 p.m. We've partnered with the Chronicle, Men Making a Difference. Again, the Lansing Catalyst, and I'm going to leave. And Church of Elohim. We'll be feeding a bunch of Lansing families, mobile food distribution. Come get some food. We'll be giving out essential items, and we'll be giving out lots of smiles. So come on through. Again, you are listening to Stax 92.1, and this is the Sunday Chronicle. We're talking about colorism within the Black race, within the BIPOC community. And what are some things that we can do to address colorism? How do we get past that within our race, heal those areas so we can start to tackle the bigger picture, the bigger issues on the outside, leading to systemic racism and whatnot.
Well, bless you. I'm glad you're fighting the good fight. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Yanice.
Thanks for being here. I'm so glad that you guys can be here.
Bless you.
So with that being said, I want to thank you for tuning in to the Sunday Chronicle. So next week we'll be talking about more of the issues that matter to the community, for the community, by the community, because community knows what community needs. Thank you.